That's what I mean.
On the table.
Like, I'm not just going to leave this wide open.
I'm not saying
All
you should just, like,
everybody be
scuttle
quiet.
people.
It's time to hit the intro.
Recording live from the E. Haley Memorial Studios, straight out of Elmont, Ontario, it's time for This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, your one and only weekly Warmahordes news broadcast. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday night, the beers are cold, the news is fresh, and the death clock starts now.
Good evening, everybody. It is time for the death clock.
It is.
So we've decided we've burned out all of the guests that we possibly can bring on this show.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
I mean, we can bring on everybody, but we really didn't have a apropos topic to bring a certain person on. And it's one of those, like, eventually you just end up surfing the world looking for a guest.
Well, I have a guest after I've read some things, but I don't think we want to actually catch our podcast in that freaking maelstrom. So I'm just going to leave that alone for a while.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I heard my name.
It was
good.
That sounded like there was secrets.
Not secrets, but if you look at certain places on the internet, there's things that have been said.
There's way too many things on the internet.
I'm not allowed to go to those sites.
Yeah, those are dirty sites. His Mama
We've
told
had
him
on the cast.
Mama told him not to go there. So anyways, before we get started tonight, I want to introduce everybody. If you don't know who we are, we're Moose Machine.
Yep,
Moose Machine consists of 3 people.
Yep.
Some of us.
And a bunch of other folks that help out every once in a while.
Present.
The most important person in the cast is me. Just kidding. So the 3 of us equally share all of the cool stuff. The first person is the guy who checks the chat, makes sure that all of the fans are happy. The best looking among us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Me. And Jason Maelstrom.
Yeah, everybody can see the chat
Ringo.
now.
Oh, there we go. The Ringo to my George. And on the other guy.
Hi.
He was still the Ringo when you were
Hi.
here. It was awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I was Ringo. Yeah, I'm always
That's
Ringo.
awesome. And of course, George to my George. George.
I feel like there should be more to that, but there isn't.
No, you're the George to my George. And I'm Will, also known as the Myth Gorax. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're changing things up. We're going to switch it around a little. We're going to stick with the format of the podcast, but did I miss something?
No.
Jason has pants on.
Yeah.
It's good. So what we're going to do tonight is we're actually going to dojo lists. We wanted to give some of our regular contributors a break because we've just been bringing them on randomly to talk about shit that half the time they're like, I don't even know why I'm here.
It's me every fucking week.
Well, you know.
I don't even know
we're gonna do a dojo session tonight. We're gonna come up with new lists because there's so many new themes out. Everybody's coming up with new.
We could
cool
change
ideas.
the camera, or you could just cuddle up.
You guys are amazing at radio.
We are the best radio hosts
I wasn't doing
ever.
anything. I was just moving my chair.
All right, so we're going to dojo some lists tonight because we've got all these new options. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go play those lists on Monday night, and then we're going to come back. We'll talk about them briefly next week. Things we're working on for the future for those guys that are like, screw this, I didn't want to just listen to you guys talk. I want to listen to people who actually know something about the game.
Smart putting that first.
Yeah. So stay tuned because next week or the week after, we're hoping to get some special guests on that we're pretty excited about. But because there's so many things going on in the universe right now, there's some changes going on at PP that's making it hard for us to line up our normal PP guys. And, so here we go. Let's get started with the news.
Ooh, there's news.
There is news.
Yeah,
Jason, you did most
We
of
need
the
a news intro.
I should get to...
We do need a news.
The way you said that, I was waiting for a button that I was supposed to press.
Oh, we could totally
It's
do
time
that.
for the news.
Yeah, why don't we have that? We should have
Straight
that.
from someplace somewhere. It's the
Totally have
news.
that.
All right, Jason, you did some research.
It's the news.
Well, Jason, you got a new solo this week.
I didn't.
Legion did.
Yep.
But you're still a JVM fanboy, and
I am, but I'm just not a Legion fanboy right now. I'm disenfranchised with the faction as a whole.
Why?
They just don't play like I want them to anymore. I think I grew up on Mark II Legion, and
and you just can't hack it in Mark III?
I can't hack it in Mark III.
so what you wanted was to stand back at the deployment zone and shoot your opponent till he died,
But
ignoring
I never,
all the terrain.
I never did that. I wasn't good enough to do that. Just run everything forward to
But that was
die.
your dream.
That was my dream,
Your
yeah.
dream was, I just want to sit back with 18 Ravagors.
Yep.
And kill all your stuff from the deployment.
That was pretty much it. I mean, Ravagors can still kind of do that, but
So, are we talking about Kreelix, the not allowed in any good themes of Everblight?
yeah.
As
So
Baron Von Echo has so nicely put it.
yeah. So, I mean, he's a really cool model, but you can only take him in one theme, and that's the Children of the Dragon theme, which is just the Nephilim. So it's like the bolt thrower and the soldier and
That's
stuff.
weird.
Yeah.
To put her in.
Yeah. And the
Is that also the only theme that
Archers.
takes the archers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, that
I
makes
mean, he's
sense.
kind of locked in. Yeah, like but he's got some really good stuff. He is def 15,
Yeah.
arm 14, which is pretty good for a solo. You just pop him in a forest or something, and
He's not
he's
unkillable.
yeah, exactly. He's ready to go. He's got a rate of fire 3, which is pretty fucking sweet, and he's also got Swift Hunter, so he can move 6 inches across the board while he's shooting those things. He's got Pathfinder, can't be knocked down. He's got different shot types as well.
Yeah, that's what really interested me.
So he's got Arcing Fire to start with, and then you can choose Blight Spasm. So when this model boxes an enemy model with this weapon, each enemy model within 1 inch of the box model suffers a damage roll with the POW equal to the strength of the remove model or whatever.
God, does he want to do the finisher on Mulg?
Yeah, right. So
Or the last shot.
So
on a
realistically, some
colossal.
low armor defense you could take out if they're like packed together. You could take out 6 models in one
Yeah.
turn. He's also got poison. You can choose poison, so you can get the weapon master bow. And he also has weaken. So a living model hit by the weapon suffers -2 strength and def, which is nice to get on some big guys. I was thinking
Well, that's
with
fantastic.
Thagrosh, that would be amazing because
Oh my God,
automatically
yeah.
the dudes are -4 strength.
Yeah.
So that's pretty damn good. And he has 2 swords that are okay. They're P+S10. If you're using the swords, it's gone horribly wrong. But yeah, I mean, he seems pretty good to me. He's only 6 points for all that.
Yeah.
Wait, are the
6
swords
points
weapon master swords? Or are they
No,
just,
just
no,
plain
but
swords.
but you get 2 P+S10 swords.
Yeah. Oh, and
Oh,
his
that's-
bow is also blessed.
So it's not a bad thing. Also, because I mean, with solos being the way they are in SR 2017, that's
He's
not
a solo hunter.
Yeah, go and also it means you can run him at the flag, take out a couple of things that are at the flag.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah,
and
you can take out 3 things just sitting
Yeah.
in front of the flag. Also,
I was
know-
also just saying because you've got 2 swords and you've only got a solo sitting on the flag, you
Yep.
can charge that thing.
yeah, and he's Rat 7 too.
Oh, fantastic!
So yeah,
Cool.
he's very cool.
What's the other new release?
The
today?
Menoth solo.
Exemplar Warder Elias Gade, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is the infamous I have 2 crossbows, how am I going to reload them?
Mm-hmm.
Guy that
Yeah.
like he's a beautiful model, but that was everybody's like this makes no sense. And I'm like, really? He's only going to live 2 rounds anyway.
Yeah, he gets to
Well,
shoot
he
one.
has all the icons. Not all
Yeah,
of them, but
pretty
he has
much.
Advanced Deploy, Assault, Pathfinder. He has 2 heavy crossbows, a range 10, POW 10, with Magical and Blessed. And his 2 bayonets are Weapon Master. So I guess he doesn't really need to reload.
Well, no,
He just shoots twice and
Yeah.
then
maybe he
stabs
does
all
it
the
like
shit.
so the big question always was how did or the Army of Darkness how did Ash start his chainsaw
With
when he
his
was
other
shooting
hand.
with the
Oh,
other hand?
yeah.
No, because he always had the shotgun, but he also had this little thing right here that he could go. If you
Yeah,
ever
he
watch
had
it- if you
the-
watch it closely.
He had the
That's-
string hooked up.
And maybe he's got some sort of special reloading thing.
Yeah, he might.
You don't know.
We don't know.
You
It's
don't
just-
know.
Yeah,
He could be that good.
So he has called Sacrifice for Exemplar Errants.
which is
So
pretty damn
just
good.
sack Errants to
Yep.
keep him alive. Leadership for the Errants. So they get Pathfinder. He has Prey and True Sight. Because fuck that particular solo.
Alvin mentioned this to me earlier. He's like, Gremlin Swarms.
Oh yeah, yeah.
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 It is a straight answer to Gremlin
Straight
Swarms.
answer to Gremlin Swarms.
Well, and that's I feel let's talk about this for a bit.
Yeah.
I feel like PP was like, let's give everybody these things because we've got these things coming in a couple of months that'll solve those problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what's happening right now with the clouds. Clouds were an issue for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
they're not so much of an issue because there's solutions to clouds.
Yep.
Jason, the reason why you need to wear your headphones is because you're
Tap,
tapping
tap,
the mic.
Tippy tap tap. Son of a bitch.
You
I'll
would
hold
know
on-
that if you're wearing
I'll hold-
headphones.
I'll hold on to the bottle instead.
No, that's funny. But I feel like we're getting the solutions to the big problems. They're just coming out.
They're trickling out.
It'll be Mark IV, and we'll be like, finally, this game makes total sense.
Well, some people are saying this is the beginning of Mark III.
Hmm.
We now
Yeah.
actually have all the themes. We have sort of a fully realized version of what PP thinks this game should
Yeah.
be.
I'm down with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm down
fair.
with that.
That's fair.
So we got previews of the new sculpts. Came out with a leak of the the release schedule for January. We
Yeah,
got
the
to
release
see some
schedule
of
for
the-
January.
Now,
Should
how
pull that
on
up.
earth did we get that?
It was
That's
on
a
the
good
internet.
question. Somebody on the internet.
Somebody
showed
put it on the
somebody.
internet. I bet.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it came from the stores.
Oh, well, obviously.
So
Yeah.
one of the stores was like, "Cool," and they put it on
Usually,
the
actually,
internet.
these things come from the distributors.
Yeah, that's probably where it came from.
Mhm.
Again, going over to Jason, who's actually done his research.
Yeah, I did this time. It's weird, eh?
What do we got going on?
We got some. So the first half
Jason's our
is
guest.
the first
I know.
half is all troll blood stuff. Some of those Northkin CID things, I probably imagined. The pig lookouts.
Look out! it's
Pig
pigs.
lookouts. The troll basher.
Oh my god, so good.
Yeah. The ice troll. They have prices on for these too. So the pig lookouts are $34.99. That's not bad. Troll bashers $19.99. That's
Really?
Yeah.
$20?
yeah.
It's a light?
It must be.
I thought it was a heavy.
Yeah, me too.
Huh.
That shows you how much we paid attention to the troll.
No,
CID.
the I
basher?
think it fits into the three. Like it's the same as the Axer and the
Okay.
spiritual.
That that totally makes sense, but
Yes, I think they
every
wanted
time
to
I've
brand it
seen
that
that
box.
model,
Yeah.
I thought it was
It
a
was
heavy.
huge. Yeah. The winter troll is $19.99. And then there's some sweet minion stuff coming out. Barney 3 or Barney 2.
Barney and his bone shaking.
Yeah, Barney
brigade.
is bone shaking. Yeah. That's a
Now,
Warcaster
this says
unit. So it's
3
yeah.
Barnabas and 2 bone shakers instead of 3.
Yeah.
That's interesting because wasn't him the only one that we were looking at that he was 4 models.
Wasn't that in CID though? Maybe they
Yeah.
changed it.
That would be a really weird thing to change.
Well, unless they just found that having 4.
Like, I mean,
having
what
a
do you
unit
do?
that
Take them
big?
out of production?
Well, no. Well, you could just say, "Sweet, we've got extras now. Just produce a whole bunch of the warlocks."
Yeah, that's true.
Because the thing is that it like having a unit of 4 is actually kind of difficult. It's super because spells that affect units, it's super hard to protect. As we've learned with Kane 3, it's super hard to protect the Warcaster because you basically just have to leave your unit behind.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I can't wait to see the mods for the next one.
Quack, Slick Spine, and Gub.
Yeah, that's the
Croak
conjoined
Sorcerers.
twins.
Oh, that's
That's the one with
fucking-
Quado on
Yeah,
it.
Quado.
yeah, somebody's totally going to be doing the
Yeah.
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 Wait, does that mean we see a Calandra with 3 boobs?
Yeah, I think somebody needs to do an entire army
Oh
in
my God, Total
in
Recall.
Total Recall style.
I got 5 kids to feed. And Blindwater Army Box, which I didn't even know was coming out, so that's really cool.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
they've
I think
been
nobody
doing
knew that. I think because they did a they
They've
did
done
the
they
trencher
did a
box.
trencher one. They
Yeah.
did a what was the other theme force that got a army box? Somebody else.
But it comes with some pretty good stuff. It comes with a Bull Snapper, Bone Swarm, Rask, which is you're playing an army box game, fuck your opponent. The Gatorman, Boker, and Bogtrog Swamp Shamblers, 5 Gatorman Posse, Blackhide Wrestler, a Void Leech, the new model coming out, Quack, Slick Spine, and Gub, a Soul Slave, and a Bone Shrine.
Cool. That's
Sounds
a
like a
lot of the
pretty
new
good list.
models
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like fun. I mean, we'll see how she goes,
Yep.
but it sounds like super fun. And
Yep.
that's the thing. I think they're focusing on fun.
How dare they?
Sons of bitches.
Those jerks.
Nobody plays War Machine for fun.
No, we all play it to pound some noobs.
So
That's
pull down
horrible.
them pants.
Oh dear God.
Yes, I play come and complain about Rask.
I know. You do realize that playing
But,
Coven
yeah.
just removes you from being able
Any
to
right to
complain
complain about
about any cast.
They used
Like,
to
you're
just
not
say
even
that
allowed
about.
to complain about Haley.
I
or
miss
Jenny.
Haley too.
So the cool part is we also got to see some of the new sculpts finished, and they look friggin' awesome. Looking forward to seeing some more painted sculpts. Dallas, get on that. They finally.
Who did we see today? The troll warlock with the awesome owl that I totally want to steal for everything.
Oh, I didn't see that today.
What's her face?
Oh, is that the? Oh, anyway, I didn't see that one. That may have been the other plus things on Facebook. You know, when you have to click on the other thing to show the rest of the pictures. I didn't click on it.
Right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's. Actually, you may as well hit the focus button, George.
It's a big old focus.
Tonight's focus, we're going to first discuss how to dojo, or why you dojo.
Cole Grimma.
Oh, Cole Grimma. That's the one that you were thinking of.
With-
That
with
is
the-
pretty
That's
badass.
a painted version. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
with
cool.
the owl. I
Yeah.
love it. Anyway, Cole
That's
Grimma.
actually a really cool bottle. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk a bit about why you dojo, what a dojo is. We've talked about this before, but we did it in Mark II, so it was a whole long time ago. We dojo a lot. One of the
Yeah.
things that happens as you have a really small meta is our really small meta has a constant Gmail chat that goes on, which is literally just pretty much like, oh, cool, new models come out. How do I fit this into my list? And then we all provide our answers,
2 cents.
our 2 cents.
Whether the other
5
person
cents
wants it or
Canadian.
not.
One of the I always reflect back to this. One of my favorite War Machine moments was actually taking a car back from the SOO with Bilac, and we had a few other of our friends in the car who people who've been on the show in the past, Shane Waddy and those guys, and we spent the entire drive home,
Yep.
the 6-hour drive, doing nothing but dojoing lists
Noise.
and explaining why Kane 2 was the greatest caster of all time.
So long ago.
So long ago. He's still really great. So that experience is part of the War Machine experience as far as I'm concerned. It's part of it. It's part of that social sitting down and discussing how you're going to kick the other guy's ass with your amazing list that you just thought of, and then him sitting there and telling you why your list sucks and why his one model will kill all your models and he will win.
So when people talk about a model being good in a vacuum, this is that vacuum.
That's exactly what we're about to do.
The
We're about
echo
to
chamber.
We're about to echo chamber it up like you wouldn't believe. So I guess the first thing is let's go around the table. When you're dojoing something that's actually competitive, let's just say, there's a question you need to ask yourself. Is this going to answer a question or is it going to ask questions? George, what do I mean by that?
Well, basically, what you want to do if you're asking a question is usually it's push some part of the rules of the game out to the edges of the probability curve. So your questions could be like, I'm playing I'm playing
WoW?
Kador. Well, I am playing WoW, but not right now. So I'm playing Kador. I already have high armor. What can I stack to get the armor even higher? And I'm asking the question, can you eat through 90 to 140 boxes of ARM 25?
Right.
Or another question, Fiana's favorite question is, can you hit def 19 things that keep running away from you?
I guess that actually does also beg the question, as PG Northblade said, theory machine or dojo. What's the difference between theory machine and dojo? Theory machine is literally like totally in the vacuum.
Yeah.
Theory. I would say the difference between dojoing a list and theory machine is that in theory machine you're taking into account, if you have this type of terrain on the table, or if your opponent is playing this or whatever. When you're actually dojoing a list, you're trying to be, first of all, a little bit more realistic. You're trying to account for everything. And also you're sort of, again, building a list in a vacuum as opposed to taking into account opponent's skill level, table state, all that kind of stuff.
And I think it also comes down to I want to say when you're dojoing a list, you're often putting a good idea, or an idea that you have that you think is good, out on the table and telling everybody else to come in and kick its ass. Like the dojo is to say, like a dojo, you want to put it through its paces. You want to put it through a theory machine gauntlet, so to speak. A theory machine tends to more be, I feel anyway, theory machine is more just me thinking about stuff and us all coming up with the thinkings to think upon it without saying, hey, okay, find the holes in this idea I have. And I think that's what a dojo is. A dojo is a discussion. Theory machine tends to be more one-sided.
Yeah. So, by the way, the second part of the answer is when you are answering a question, you're doing the opposite. You're saying, okay, maybe my list can't get really high in defense or get really high in armor or stealth everything or whatever, but I have brought the solutions to those things. So I have brought 1,000 weapon masters. Sure, they die in droves, but all I need to do is get 3 of them to you.
I think
or something like that. You're not asking a question, you're providing, this is a solution to high armor. This is a solution to high defense.
Yeah, the classic example is the RFP example.
Yeah.
Like, so, Ghost Fleet. The solution to Ghost Fleet is a lot of remove from play. So the dojo that has an answers, for example, Ghost Fleet. This is my Ghost Fleet answer.
Now,
It has all the RFP and can snipe out some snipey. It does ignores stealth or whatever it is you need in order to deal with a problem. It could also just be these guys move really fast and can crack armor. That is a solution to, say, a Khador armor spam or whatever. That's that. Yeah, that sort of to give some examples. The next thing is the next question you have to ask yourself is, what are you trying to do with this list? Jason, when we're sitting here dojoing, what is it that, like, when you're trying to come up with something, do you start with what you're trying to do, or do you start with models, or what is it that where's your beginning point?
It changes, I find. Sometimes I just want to look at a caster and see what I can do with that particular caster, what their strengths are, and build to those. And sometimes I think about specific models. Like, I want to make an army out of these models and try to find which caster would work with them the best, and blah, blah, blah.
So we got a question from the board. My question is, from Brad. My question is, what is the best Signar list to eat said Khador list? High arm rockets.
That
isn't Gravediggers. You know what? Unfortunately, I am so far removed from Signar at this point that I don't have those answers. I think Haley 2. I'm actually serious because, again, Haley 2 is amazing into Jack spam right now.
Yep.
Because you
just lock down the jacks.
You lock down the jacks, time walk them, and then...
Yeah, but what are you hitting back with? Like, what does that list look like?
Yeah, you use that turn to try and maneuver an assassination.
Or win on scenario.
So I have 2 turns. How does that help? You still have to crack all that armor.
Well, here's the thing. I look at my solution to armor cracking. I don't really, truly have a great armor cracking list. And that's me. Like, it's not that it doesn't exist in Mercs. I'm sure everybody could tell me why there's a million armor cracking things in Mercs. It's just that I don't have those, and I don't play those. So I tend to want to win on scenario. Being able to time lock down an entire list for 2 turns wins you scenario.
Okay. So the plan there is scenario. What about rockets? How do you beat rockets?
You need something that can just mitigate your AoEs. So anything that can go to ground.
Well, see, he has said by not using Gravediggers,
right?
Like, he's left out the actual answer.
So,
the actual answer to Vlad Rockets is Gravediggers.
Yeah. Then I mean that's the thing.
He's talking specifically about high arm.
No, well, he said high arm or rockets.
Right.
Those are
tough.
2 different lists.
I mean, that's the problem when you're dojoing, you also have to look at all your options. Like, you can't, like, if you're eliminating Gravediggers, you're saying, well, I'm not going to play that. And I'm not saying you're wrong, Brad. I don't know if there's a solution because we're not great Signar players on top of that.
I actually think the answer to that is Nemo 3 Dual Storm Tower. You have all the E-leaps. You're not going to instantly disappear off of the table. And then when you need the boost to just kick all the asses, you pop feet and you go. And with that gun, he can reach really deep.
Okay, so next what we're going to talk a bit about is when you're dojoing, I think the first thing you need to do is look at, is this going to be fun or is it competitive? Most of the time when we actually dojo a list, we want it to be competitive.
I don't think that's 100% true. I think stuff that we dojo a lot, we want to be competitive. But I have more than once tried to dojo just a stupid list. It's like, I want to make the light ponies from Kador work because I really like spraying Turnians. How do we make spraying Turnians do something?
Is that no more theory crafting, though?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think if we're
depends on
going to
if you're
define the
building a list
point
for it.
of saying theory crafting versus dojo we tend to do on a more competitive level. We tend to be like, find the holes in this because I think it's good. I understand what you're saying. Sometimes you're also like, hey, all my buddies, let's make ponies work today.
Yeah.
And everybody throws in their 2 cents. That's kind of more theory crafting. But I mean, a dojo, I think you also want to take to the table. I think that might also be a big change. So yeah, I mean, you can dojo a fun list. A lot of the time it's run to the caster. You're like, screw this.
Yep.
I'm going to play Connie B, and she's going to be the greatest caster of all time.
Has anybody ever actually said that?
No.
Yes, actually, I believe that buddies of ours on another podcast did an entire podcast on how to make Connie B competitive, and that's where the
And then lost?
Connie B
Oh,
and the
lost?
10 dwarf
The Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs
that
list.
came from a podcast. So you ask yourself those things, then you ask yourself, kind of, am I going to give answers? Am I going to ask questions? The next question is why do we dojo? What's the point?
To try and find the problem in your list before you hit the table too many times.
That's that kind of
Like,
that's
That's
a
a better
succinct
answer than I was going to
Yeah.
give.
it's the same reason as CID. It's the same reason as all of these things where you try and get multiple people looking at a thing. In the computer industry, there's a saying, you can't think of what you can't think of. You can never prepare for a thing that you can't see coming.
Oh, that's exactly it. And we don't want to show up to the table and be like, damn it, if only I'd had.
If only I had thought of. You look across the table and it's like, oh, I really should have had that one solo.
The last but not least is how, before we go into actually dojoing this evening, how do you play a new list the first time?
How do you play it the first time?
Well, yeah, I mean, so here's the
Very
thing.
carefully.
Here's the thing. My first suggestion, and I'll start off with suggestions on how to play your list the first time. Never take it to a competition the first time.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
You will literally
Okay.
be throwing it to the sharks and letting everybody go, oh, there's the holes in it. I always I never take a list to competition that I haven't played at least 10 times.
Can you explain Bubba to me then?
Yeah, Bubba's an anomaly.
He's an enigma.
Bubba, here's the difference between a great player and a great list.
Yeah.
Bubba.
Yeah.
I have a chance of having a great list.
You have a chance of exactly.
That's the difference.
So, Jason, do you have any advice for people once they've dojoed their list? How do you play it the first time? What do you do the first time? Feels like the first time.
You don't do whatever
like
that
the
was.
very first time.
Or that.
We can't do this right now. So
Ding,
I think
ding, 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 ding.
usually I get very apprehensive about playing on clock the first time I play a list because the first time I play a list, I don't get to play that often. So I want to not screw it up right away by taking too long a turns and just clocking myself while I'm reading the cards.
Okay, that's really interesting. So when you're sitting down at the table with a list, with any list,
Right.
when is your first decision point? Is it at setup? Is it at the first turn, third turn? When are you making that I am changing my battle plan?
Well, I think that's very game dependent.
See-
Like, there's no.
Okay, so
I don't have a specific answer for that. It would depend on the
so
game that I'm playing.
My answer is the end of turn 2.
Okay.
When I put my say the list I've been playing recently, the Access double TEP list, when I drop that on the table, every single time I set it up the same way. Turn 1, I always advance up the same way. Turn 2, I make my decisions.
Oh.
So I will say this to you. I understand why you do that.
Because it's fucking access and 2 DEPs.
Yeah.
No,
but hold on.
Yeah.
And I'm not criticizing your list. What I'm saying is
that you're a horrible player.
no, not at all.
No?
So it's something that I used to do, and that's because you and I kind of came up in this game
doing the same
together,
thing.
and that's how we built our stuff. We were like, okay, we need to have our first 2 turns. I've changed that entirely with SR 2017. I've also changed it entirely with the way that the terrain is now. So my most critical decision point is the list I've chosen versus the other person. So because I always try to think in a 2-list scenario now.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, the scenario is so much more important to me than it's ever been. So I have lists now, and my decision point, my very first decision point, as far as deployment is concerned, is very dependent on the scenario.
Ooh, interesting.
Because the scenarios are completely different now. So I think that is a Mark II mentality, because the scenarios weren't that different. It was, there's a scenario there, I might be able to win on it if I do these things the same way every time, and I have a scenario list, so that's how I'm going to deal with it. Or I need to stop, I don't have a scenario list, so I need to stop him from winning on scenario.
But the thing is, no matter what the scenario, I have a deployment that works with every scenario.
Then that's good for you.
That's great.
No,
I don't.
Not everybody
My
does.
deployment changes by
Well,
scenario.
that's
and
why I
terrain.
was asking. That's
Yeah.
why I
No,
was asking what the
terrain
what the
changes
decision point was.
Terrain
Well,
and scenario are the
terrain
first
and scenario.
things
I have to
think
look at the
about.
terrain and scenario, and I go, well, shit. I have 3 or 4 different deployments. That isn't gonna. None of them is gonna work.
Let me put it this way: do you build symmetrical lists or do you build asymmetrical lists? So do you have so in a lot of my lists, I will have basically 2 entire groups of things.
Oh God, asymmetrical almost 90% of the time. Oh, but then again, I guess it depends. I have 2 different lists.
Yeah,
One
no,
is-
no, but almost all of my lists, no matter what the type of list they are, tend to be symmetrical. Now, I might deploy it left to right or right to left if I have a really weird list, but almost always I have 2 groups that can either brick up together if I'm in a scenario where I can do that, or they will break apart where in the times when I need to be spread out.
Well, I think it also depends. Your faction, your faction being a micro faction, lends well to that.
Yeah.
Because they build on each other. So the synergies work better when you're doubling up. I think actually my faction does to a certain degree too, because I have all these micro factions within my faction. Jason's, on the other hand, you don't build that way. I don't think I've ever seen you play, other than maybe like a Bane spam. I've never seen you play perfectly symmetrical lists.
No. No, it completely depends on
it's like a couple
the terrain and the actual scenario.
But it's also like when you build a list, you have a smattering of support, a thing that does one thing, a thing that does another thing, a unit that will help you solve this problem, a unit that creates a problem over here, and a caster that does a few different
Yeah, if I'm going
things.
second, my setup is automatically completely different.
Yeah. Whereas
so you're having to make a lot more. You're having to do a lot more CPU cycles early in the game. You're having to think a lot more in early turns.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm kind of going through the motions until turn 2 because, well, Convergence has 2 things that lend themselves to that. One is symmetrical listing.
Yeah.
But the other thing is they're slow as dirt.
Right.
They're like Kador without all the speed.
Yeah.
Well, so it's funny because you're actually saying you kind of ignore the other player for 2 turns.
Yeah, realistically, turn 2 is where I get to start making decisions.
I feel
that's where I get into range. That's where I'm having to stay out of their range.
That's fair.
Now, unless there's obviously always exceptions where you hit up against somebody who has like a 24-inch range or something, and you're having to stay out of that turn 1 or something like that. But on, I would say 80 to 90% of my games, it's like turn 2, yay! I get to make decisions.
Well,
now.
it's funny you say that because I feel the opposite about Cephalix. Like because Cephalix I can make them move very fast. I have an ambush. Again, very symmetrical list. I mean, literally, I have 3 2.5 of everything and 3 of most other things. Like, it's the most symmetrical list you can get. However, because I can make them move fast and because there's so much mobility in there, I am very concerned about turn 1 and turn 2. So those are critical
and you have to
turns.
Unpack a lot, I'll bet.
I have to unpack a lot. So
Yeah.
to be honest, my deployment is generally close depending on the scenario. There's some switches up for a scenario, but the deployment, because there's just so much shit and I only have so much to move, everything's just jammed up against the line in pretty normal deployment. But turn 1 is actually super important because now I have to react to if I'm the second player, I have to react to whatever you did. And because I have so much movement, I need to get things to where they need to be for the next turn, and that changes massively from game to
Wow,
game.
that's really interesting. That must suck.
Well, no, it's
I just assumed it was part
it's
of the
also
game.
kind of what I enjoy, and
Yeah.
it's most of the time why I win with Cephalix because of turn 2. Turn 2 is so critical for me. Or sorry, turn 1 is so critical, and the beginning of, I guess if I'm player 1, the beginning of turn 2 is so critical for me. That is like I
You
will
can't
win or
ignore
lose a game depending on what happened in those 2 turns.
Yep.
Because if I went the wrong direction and I ignored a model that I didn't realize what it did or whatever, you will win. Just because now I'm committed somewhere else and don't have the thing to go jam you up.
Interesting. Cool.
All right, so that
Back on
went on
track.
a cool sidetrack. We're gonna dojo now.
Okay, so we're going to try making a list?
We're gonna try making a list each, and so we're gonna have to,
Not in the time
not
we've
the
got
time we
left.
have left. But so maybe what we'll do, I will.
Do
You
we
guys.
pick-
Nobody
do we-
wants to hear about
do we-
Cricks.
Well, I was going to
so-
say, do we pick the Cricks guy?
Well,
because it's the
no,
only way
actually,
we'll have
I
a real
think
faction?
I'm gonna let you guys do all the talking. And what we'll do is you guys will create a new list for me because you guys already understand your
Okay.
mercs a little bit because you've got mercs. And I think and I'm willing
I
to.
have Eilish. Do you want Eilish?
I got Eilish too.
Now, are we doing
No,
a theme,
I
or are
mean,
we
that's,
doing...
that's the only Merc I've got. So
You've played other factions that had mercs. So what I was thinking was I want to have a.
Magnus the asshole.
It doesn't. You guys can choose whatever caster you want at this point. But the point is that I'd like it to deal with.
Please.
I'd like it to
Please.
deal with armor cracking.
Constance.
No, that's the point. It actually has to deal with one thing. which
You want
is
an armor cracking.
I want it's something. As I said at the beginning of the podcast, it's something I don't have.
Right.
So I would like an armor cracking list that is not one of the ones you guys play with me often, which is it can't be my dwarf list. It can't be one of my lists. So let's get this party started. You kind of have the whole world worth of casters to
Are we
choose.
Are we picking a theme first?
I think we have to.
I think we have to.
Sure. So there's a lot of themes out there though.
What theme lends itself to
It's a good question.
armor crack?
It sort of depends on what you want to do. So we've got for the theme forces. I mean, the question is, do we want to simplify this? Do we want to go Cephalix?
I would say no
no.
to start with.
Okay, so no Cephalix. So that narrows things down a little bit. We've got the Lely's resistance, which limits us down quite a bit, and basically allows you to add command attachments, some solos, and gives you a 5-inch AoE rubble as terrain feature. The next one is the Irregulars, which is everybody's favorite theme force in Mercs right now, because that gives you your normal extra stuff, but allows you to Jack Marshal, and if you are Jack Marshalling a Jack, it gets +2 to attack rolls and gains an additional die on damage because of flank. So you have to be flanking with a friendly warrior model. That might be the way to go. I don't know.
Flank
I'll leave
is good.
that up to you guys, because this is the dojo. Let's take a look. There's another theme force.
Italian.
That's
the privateer theme force.
Yeah, there's
I don't think the privateers hit hard enough.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I will agree with you. I think we need to go irregulars,
Okay.
and I think we might want to look at stacking up those, having jacks that are Jack Marshaled, so that we can hit harder and get that additional die.
Okay, so who gives something to jacks that are not in their battle group?
Good
what
question.
Warcaster helps jacks that are not in their battle group?
Kane 3 does not. Bart can hand out a few spells. He's got nope, that's battle group. He can do nope. Bart's pretty much battle group dependent.
Ashlyn has admonition, gallows, and quicken that she can hand out.
Yep. Shay's feat is really good with because it's general. Like if we look at feats alone, Bart does okay because at least he can mitigate an alpha.
Ashlyn means you can't you aren't missing on feat turn. Let's see who else. Do we?
McBain can hand out fortune to the unit. So remember that with this particular thing, in order to get all these bonuses, we need to be flanking with a unit.
Do we just do Magnus for the fuck off one turn?
That's always pretty good.
Like, I mean, it's hard to beat that. Escort is battle group though. Is the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. And also, his feat's really good for everybody. Escort is battle group. You're still going to need a battle group, so that might be good to a certain
Magnus
degree.
is really good if we dump into the battle group though.
But the other thing is he can hand out Calamity, which is pretty good. He can hand out Bullet Dodger. That doesn't have to be in the battle group. Convection is good. Obliteration. So, I mean, really, Escort's the only thing that is battle group dependent.
Our cantrip bolt's really good.
That's Magnus 1.
Oh, am I
Magnus
looking
the
at the
Traitor.
wrong one?
Yeah,
We're
Warlord,
looking
not
at the
Traitor.
Warlord.
Warlord, not Traitor. I don't know. I mean, actually, Magnus the Traitor's not bad either, except his feat's super battle group dependent. I think I've heard Gorton from a few folks.
Gordon, interesting.
I've heard good things about Gorton because he can put out a rock wall.
Yeah, rock walls are good. Strength of granite.
Solid
is
ground
good,
is
but
control range. Friendly
strength of granite
models.
is battle group.
Sorry, solid ground. I was talking. Sorry, solid ground. Strength of granite. Again, it could be interesting. Also, anybody who's watching the chat right now, if you've got suggestions as far as the caster you'd like to see,
They're saying Shay with 8 freebooters. We've done that.
well, but if we're talking about
it was
doing,
there for a reason.
but I mean, if we're doing that, I don't have it done with a whole bunch. Oh, I do, but I don't have it right now. I haven't played it yet with a whole bunch of Jack Marshalls. All right. Well, I mean, let's look at. I think you guys are talking about. Let's do Warlord.
Yeah, let's try Magnus the Warlord.
All right. So let's add Warlord. So let's build us a list, George. Starting out with Warlord. We want to beat the
And
hell.
we're in irregulars.
Yep, we're in irregulars, and so we need to crack armor as much as possible. Let's talk about where do you guys like to start when you guys are building a list? Do you guys start with solos or do you start with?
I usually start with the battle group first.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to bust armor, I'm probably starting with battle group.
Okay.
Unless
Because
I know
that's where
I
you're
have
getting-
fast weapon masters or something.
Okay,
That's where you're getting your damage output.
so
I want Cragback and Lug in there. No particular reason. I just love those models.
that dojoing, you're not allowed to do that shit.
Aw.
You gotta play this. That's just being a jerk at a dojo. Okay, so we need to look at the armor cracking.
So, if we're cracking armor,
Yep.
I think we should go to our solos and grab ourselves a Kiss and a Dark Shroud.
Okay, so that's pretty easy. So we're gonna add in
Red
Iana and
Man
Holt.
and Iana and Holt.
So that's so we have one unit and one solo, and that
They
will
may turn out to be free depending on how we can get the points
Right.
going.
Cool. That sounds pretty standard. That's
Because we want to break that armor.
okay. Are we going melee dependent, or do we want to shoot some?
I feel like we should be going mostly melee, but if we go, if we throw the big boy the Colossal in his battle group. That's not bad.
Oh, you want to throw the Colossal in there?
Well, the Colossal has a bunch of things going for it. It's got nice, high, heavy-duty weapons. It's got a drag, whereas the things that you need to crack armor on, generally you're going to be able to hit with that drag. And the only problem is doing... Oh, no, it's a non-hit drag, right? Not a damage drag?
It is a damage.
Oh, it's a damage
Yeah.
drag? What's the POW
It's
on
not a
that
problem.
weapon?
It's POW,
It's
POW 15, and you boost
Oh,
it.
okay, yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're going to do the 1 damage. You're going to drag it in.
Generally, yeah. Okay, so we're adding Ayanna and Holt in here. Where are they? There they are. Lady Ayanna and Master Holt. We're going to add in... we're going to add in good old... Do we want to do Gorman as well? Do we really want to...
Well, again,
Stack
depends
on
on
that
if they're
damage?
Free, right?
Right, because we're going to get some free stuff down the road.
So let's
Ragman?
throw them in for right now. Yeah, we've got
Ragman.
Ragman in there.
Okay.
So let's throw them in right now, and we'll see where the points shake out.
Okay. Cool. So we need some units, obviously, because we want them free. Oh, no, we're getting free cards from...
We can get free cards from jacks or units.
Right. Okay. So obviously we want to have the flanking. So we need to add in any solo that can, or a few solos that can take... jacks.
What about our friend with the pistol? What's his name?
Gaston?
Yeah.
But, okay.
No one shoots like us, though.
No one shoots like Gaston. Yeah, we could take Gaston. So that does... He's a battle group controller, though, is not Jack Marshall.
He's not a Jack Marshall.
So let's not
Okay.
worry about
Never
him
mind.
yet. Let's take the Jack Marshall. So the Jack Marshalls that you
Dirty?
can take are Dirty Meg, Colby Sterling, and I want to say there's only one more, which is Rutger Shaw. There might be another one. You can Jack Marshall with some units, but those are the main ones. Oh, and Thor. Thor can Jack Marshall too. I would take Thor with.
I was going to say he
let's
gets to take a Rulik Jack, doesn't he?
He gets to take an Avalancher. The Thor Avalancher is legit.
Okay, so Thor with a Thor Balancher.
Mm-hmm. And then like either Shaw or whatever. There's those other dudes. Dirty Meg.
I'm not sure about Dirty Meg.
What's your reservation with Dirty Meg?
I do like her repair, but that's kind of all she does, right? Like obviously in this case she's also Jack Marshalling, but what's her drive? Pathfinder and reposition 3.
So looking at
That's
the
not
chat,
bad.
I just want to run through, just sort of catch everybody up who's listening to the podcast after things that have happened in the chat. PG Northblade has made the point that Cephalix heavies crush other heavies lists under Thexus. They also do really, really well with the other Cephalix caster because he is battle group driven and can add a whole bunch of damage. And Magnopus has shown up and is basically protesting us that we're creating a Magnus 2 list without him, and that we're saying that
I kind of agree with him.
No, I absolutely agree. But I'm letting you guys dojo this out and letting you create.
I
a
think
list.
there's too many solos.
Too many
solos, even if they're free.
How many solos you get for free? There's like 5 on here already.
Yeah, we're gonna get
1,
2 for
2,
free right
3,
off the top.
4.
Remember, pretty much every
For
time
every 25 points of jacks, you're going to get one.
Yeah, pretty much every time we add another jack onto the list, which is every time we're adding a solo at this point, we're getting a free jack or a free solo.
So the free solo every 25 points of jacks?
Yeah.
But we already added a galleon.
Yeah.
So we have an extra friggin' 14 points to mess with.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so let's.
that's saying share, Gordon.
Yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to go, but that's what dojoing's all about.
So let's get this straight. You're having the 2 guys who don't know at all any of your models generate this list.
To a degree. I mean, that's what we're dojoing, and you guys are like, okay.
You should be
I think it
generating
should
the
be-
good list,
Oh,
and then us picking holes
so what
in
you're
it.
saying is I'm dojoing wrong.
Yes.
All right, let's pull up a good list then, and we're going to dojo it then. If we want to go that direction.
This is more theory craft.
Oh, we were theory crafting? God damn it, we did it wrong. Okay, so let me pull up. Let's pull up my.
Never trust the Crix player on how many solos to bring.
You're not wrong.
Bring them all. Bring them all. They'll be fine. Totally fine. Dang it, where is that? Okay, so this is. I didn't plan for this.
Do you have a Magnus 2 list?
Yes, but it's pretty standard. So let me do my Shay list then. Okay, so we're gonna create a new army. We're gonna go with mercenaries. Worst podcast ever. We're gonna create it. We're gonna do a new Shay list.
I wanted to do Magnus. I got my heart set on Magnus now.
Yeah, I don't have a Magnus list anymore.
And the theme is
The theme is the same. It's going to be irregulars. And the idea is that we're going to build it around having all them solos and the freebooters. So I do
booters on solos.
booters on solos. So to start with, we're going to do 2 freebooters on Shay. Then we're going to bring in every single person that can take a jack. So Colby's going to come in. Colby's going to have a freebooter. I'm going to go with Dirty Meg with a freebooter. Let's try to get as many freebooters in here as possible. We're going to bring up going all the way down to
Thor.
Yep, we'll bring Thor in. He's gonna take his
Avalancher.
we'll try that. I may swap that out in a second. And Rutger Shaw
With a freebooter?
with a freebooter. So right now we're at a total
50.
of 5 freebooters. We're at 50 points. Now we need to have some units.
That by the way, if you want a 50-point list to just put the fear of God into your opponent, that is gonna fuck you up.
Oh, we're gonna put more,
but like at 50 points,
we're gonna put more freebooters in, so it'll get even better. So we need some units though, and they need to be friendly units. So
why? What are the units for?
Because you can't get flank without warrior models.
Okay, so who's the cheapest unit?
You know what?
What is going to go behind the jacks, run past them next to the guys, so that your freebooters can kick ass?
I don't know if I want.
They need to be fast and cheap. What's fast and cheap? Not dwarves.
No, definitely not dwarves. I was thinking press gangers.
Press gangers, are they fast and cheap?
Well, they're cheap relatively for.
No, they are not doing work. Stop thinking of these as a unit of things. These are a jack buff.
Okay, but
They're scrap thralls.
Yeah, they're a
thralls.
jack buff.
Well,
so I want my jack to have flank.
Okay,
And we're an armor cracking, so we know that the things we're throwing this list into aren't going to be hurt by infantry weapons.
Well,
unless they have a trick, right?
if you'd let me talk.
Hell no.
Well, we could go with Alexia and the Risen.
Okay.
So you've got the only problem is that it's very dependent on one person, and you need souls. So the nice thing is
Mistress, or is that the other one?
no, Alexia and the Risen is the one that where she starts out with
Starts out with
9 Risen and then just keeps collecting souls. And the nice thing is then you've got friendly warrior models that can just run around. I mean, they do crap. If you're just thinking about building it that way and that the warrior models don't do shit, then that would be
That's the way to go.
Okay. So Alexia and the Risen is 10 points, so we're at 60.
By the way, sorry, flank is the friendly warrior model. Friendly warrior model makes a melee attack against when a model with flank, friendly warrior makes a melee attack against an enemy model
that has a warrior in its melee.
Oh, so
range.
they don't get it.
No, the jacks get
The
it.
jacks get it.
Okay, so let's get Alexia.
They're just there to die.
We'll throw the Alexia and the Risen in there.
Yeah, so they're 10 points for 10 models.
Yep.
Realistically, only 9. So if we don't go above 9 freebooters, we're fine.
So then we need to select our free models to get rid of a couple things. Let's choose our most expensive ones, which is Thor and Rutger. And we're still sitting on 15 points.
Poor Magnapusses. You guys are killing me.
We're all going to play this list into you, Matt.
He
It's
says
gonna be awesome.
He says 2 steel heads.
2 mini units of steel heads? No. Yeah, steel heads times 2.
I know. I want to add another unit in here anyway.
I think you're crazy. If you're using them as buffs, then why do you need another unit?
I guess if all we're thinking is let's just crack armor and nothing else. If
Well,
that's
you said
what we're-
that's
Isn't
the,
that what the
that you
point
said
of the
that's
theme
the
is?
job of this
all right.
list.
So we're adding
It's
another.
not an all comers list. This is a shit. There's 10 Kador heavies over there.
Yeah,
So
fuck.
we're adding-
Harkovich is across the table, probably.
so we're adding another freebooter in then.
To
Well, because
to
Shay's still got Warjack points, so we may as well have 3 freebooters.
So 3 booters on Shay, 1 on Colby, 1 on Dirty Meg, 1 on Rutger, 1 on Thor. Alexian Arisen for is 10 points.
Now we get to choose 3 free cards, so we'll do
Colby, Rutger, and Thor.
Thor, Rutger, sure, it doesn't matter. So as long as it's all the 3, so we're now sitting on 57 extra points left. Okay, so I think we need a
Does
second
Shay-
unit.
Does Shay want the Galleon? It's 36 points.
No, we're not going to do the Galleon.
Oh,
That'd be bad
no
with Shay.
Galleons. Okay.
No, I think we do is we.
Matt is so fed up with this. He's literally just gonna send me a
Yeah,
list.
he's right. I would have said Steelheads as well. Except I don't own Steelhead, so I can't actually play them this week. So why don't we? Definitely 1 unit of Steelheads. Yeah, see, that would have actually worked out well mathematically.
Do you want to pull the Risen and put in Steelheads?
I think it's not a bad idea. See, that we're getting the audience help. This is a dojo.
So
Steelhead unit are we talking?
I assume
The
we are
horses?
no.
The
Halberdiers.
So now we have 4 points left. You know what we could do? To get the Steelhead solo in here, and because I think he's expensive.
69. What?
He's
did you
4
get
points.
that I missed.
We would get an extra.
Did you do 2 units of Steelheads?
I selected the free cards. Did you select the free cards?
Yeah. No. It's you have more points than I do. must have
I
missed
did
something.
2 units of Steelheads. Yep. 3 freebooters. Colby, freebooter. Dirty Meg, freebooter. Thor, Avalancher. Shaw, freebooter. 2 units of Steelheads. And
2
then
min units, I'm assuming.
no, full units. 11 points each.
So that's 69. We can technically play that, but I would say we should probably find something to soak up 6 points.
Yeah, I definitely want to. Well, the other thing is we could gain an extra point by throwing in Werner, Sergeant Nicholas Verendier Ray, and toss out one of the 3-point guys. And then we have 4 points left. So we should probably go add a Buccaneer for 6 points, and that brings us to 74. Huh, I'm willing to try it. So
Okay, so read it out to me so I make sure I've got it up on the screen. Here.
Shay, freebooter, Buccaneer.
Buccaneer.
Colby Sterling, freebooter. Dirty Meg, freebooter. Thor with an Avalancher. Shaw with a freebooter. 2 units of Steelheads.
So 2 max units of Halberdiers, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so 74 points of 75.
Yep. So we're short a point. We could get 2 points back. Actually, here's what we do. Nope. Can't get that many points back.
Gabberchef?
Oh,
the
it's
answer
only,
always
we
Gabberchef?
only have 1 point left.
Oh, is he 2?
Yeah, he's 2.
Yeah, it's nothing for 1.
All right. This is our dojo for the week.
Take a shot every time Will says freebooter.
All right, we're gonna accept it, and I will try playing it, and then I will tell you why it sucks later. And then Matt will already be like, "That's because you didn't do anything I told you to do." And I'll be like,
When I get that list from Matt,
Mac,
actually, no. What we have to do next Monday, you got to play 2 games.
I
You
gotta
got to play Matt's
but-
list, and you
but-
got to play that dojo list, and see which one works
I
better.
don't play Matt's lists.
Why?
His-
Because they're good.
No, because they're his lists, and he plays them good. I play my own list pretty damn good myself. All right.
George sounded like that was debatable.
I wasn't going to debate it.
I do all right. I do all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8:59, so we got to get to
The lightning round.
terrible radio this evening. Sorry, everybody.
It's amazing radio.
It's a good idea at the time. Question number 1. What is the POW on the Efferite Scouts heavy hunting rifle?
POW 10?
No.
Pound 9.
No.
7.
It is 7.
Shit.
Wait. Is it like Weapon Master
It's
or something?
armor pierce.
It's armor piercing.
Okay.
But it's one of those misnomer things. That's why I chose it. Question number 2. How far can Gudrun the Wanderer wander? So what's his running speed? What's his speed when or how far can he go when he runs?
How far can Gudrun the Wanderer wander?
From the point where he starts to the point where he stops.
I'm going to
Thank
say
you, George. That was one of
12
your
inches?
answers.
Yeah.
speed 6.
It is 12 inches. His speed is 6. Question number 3. What does Eilish's Gatewalker do? George.
At the end of his turn, he can move, what is it, 5 inches, I think it is?
Teleport.
No.
Ooh.
He can teleport 5 inches.
It's a
When
place?
he
When
After he casts a spell.
after
after he
yeah.
casts a spell. Question number 4. What does Object of Desire do?
Oh, God.
This is getting very personal.
Makes me fucking rage quit the goddamn game. No, what is it, like
You really
plus
hate
2
pirates.
damage? Oh, yeah. Pirates fucking tilt me. It's what, plus 2 damage or an extra die or something on Pirates Nearer?
Yep. She additional damage die.
Yeah.
Only on hand weapons. That's super important because
Yeah,
not
but-
all sea dogs.
Yeah,
have
but some
hand
of their
weapons.
guns are called hand weapons.
No. They're called guns. They have hand weapons.
Hand weapons and guns are those? The two things?
What is the
My
range?
hand weapons have guns.
What is the range on Stranglehold?
Eh. 8.
No.
No, it's 6, isn't it? It's fucking 6.
No.
Oh, is it
10
10?
inches?
It's 10.
Shit, that's really good. Stranglehold's so good.
Question number 6. My feat is True Grit. Who am I?
Oh, fuck.
True Grit. Who am I?
Probably a dwarf.
Nope.
I know this. God damn it. I can't remember.
McBain!
I was just fucking looking at it.
Question number 7.
I just had to wait a second for
McBain!
for my.
Who does Graylix have Sackpon to?
Oh,
George.
Bladedness archers.
I had
It
to
is
say,
Bladed Ness
oh.
Oh, if only you had not owed.
It's not like we talked about that earlier.
I am nothing.
Elias Gade is part of which faction?
Elias Cade.
Gade. Elias
Oh,
Gade.
Man
Man
off.
off.
It is Manoff.
Yeah.
And Jason got the point because he buzzed in. You just yelled it at the same time as him.
Man
Unfortunately, we don't have a Minty Fresh question of the week because Minty has been super busy. So, question number 9 this week is: what are Borka 1's 3 spells? What 3? Only because I've been staring at Borka all day long. You get this question. He only has 3.
He only has 3 spells. I'm gonna say something to do with cold.
Yeah.
Something to do with being drunk,
Yeah.
and something to do with being a troll.
If only you had not said that one. You were actually pretty damn close. Jason, did you want to hazard a guess on what the third one was?
Something to do with being tough. Or strong.
No,
So-
I would say that was troll.
So,
things.
something that
Yeah.
has to do with cold,
Yeah.
wind wall.
Mhm.
Something that has to do with being drunk, mosh pit.
Yeah.
Something to do with being lucky,
Oh,
arcane ward.
arcane war.
Arcane
I would
ward.
never have gotten
I was just reaching at this point.
Barroom Blitz.
Pretty close. Pretty close. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of upkeep to do. Hey, we tried a dojo episode. We may never try this again, or at least we'll have
Well,
a
we
plan
should-
for
we
next
should-
time.
And we should
Yeah.
probably also dojo with someone who knows what they're doing. Because that so isn't us.
Well, I mean, I thought we were just throwing you a bone there, boys. Throwing you a bone.
I liked it. I'm waiting for that Magnus 2 list though. So
My Magnus 2 list.
I'll get Matt to send you one tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
Matt
thanks,
can
Matt.
send you a Magnus 2 list because he plays Magnus 2. That's
He
his
plays
solution.
everything.
That's his solution to everything. His solution is, have you
Magnus
tried
2.
Magnus 2?
It's like
He should have a
Jordan and-
T-shirt that says
Have you-
"Have Magnus 2 yet?"
you
Okay,
tried
ladies
Magnus
and
2?
gentlemen, we have some upkeep to do. First, I want to thank our sponsors, Wizards Tower, who make sure that the lights are still on. Don't forget, everybody, if you are in the Ottawa area, Wizards Tower does carry a full line of Privateer Press stuff. They're also the best place to go for your Magic the Gathering
They
needs.
just got all the new trenchers in.
What? All the
The
new
puppy.
trenches.
The
Ooh,
puppy.
Get your puppies at the Wizards Tower.
Don't shoot the dog.
Always shoot the dog.
No.
He fucking reloads.
No.
Grenadiers, shoot the
I
dog.
can't do it.
Shoot the dog.
Next, I want to thank Muson Minis.
Mm-hmm.
They also help keep the lights on, and they make sure that you get to hear our podcast because we are on the Muson Minis network. And the guys on Muson Minis guys from Muson Minis just sent a giant box
Yeah.
to James's high school for their Guild Ball League, which is super nice of them.
Yeah.
A huge box. James is going to send us pictures so that we can post them on the interwebs of.
Cool.
Please don't bug John to send things to your high school.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to talk to
Yeah.
us. First, you need to start a giant league.
You got to start. There's a ladder to climb.
Yeah,
there.
first you need to start a giant league. Then you need to be on the podcast like 30 or 40 times.
Yeah.
And,
Then you
and you have to
need
get a
to
job
be
as a high school teacher.
and you need to be super awesome, and then ask us
Yeah.
to send a whole bunch of stuff to your high
Yeah,
school.
yeah. And we'll consider it.
So what's going on in the world of Fraser, Jason?
I haven't talked to Fraser today, but
He was in the chat earlier.
He was in the chat. I think he probably would have told me if there was a scrum going on tonight. So probably no scrum tonight.
No
but-
scrum?
No scrum. But as always, War Machine Battle Reporter. You put your games
Register
in.
them games.
WMHBattleReporter.com.
.com.
Okay. And last but not least, George, what events do we have going on in the area?
We've got all kinds of great stuff coming up. We have some more tournaments. We've already done the second of the out of the box. So we have a Montreal-Ottawa tournament coming up. We have on Halloween weekend, I think we're going to have 3 versions of the Halloween event running so that everybody can get a chance to go. I think we're doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Pick a day on the weekend that you have free and get out. If you are in Montreal or you don't want to do Halloween-y things and you want to smash your head against people in a tournament, you can head to Montreal for a tournament on the 28th. And then coming up in November, I think the second weekend of November, we are going to start the next league. So in early November, I'll put out details about that.
Sweet. All right. And last but not least, don't forget, this weekend, coming up, 2 days, you have all the time to paint in the world. I'm not manically painting 4 things to try to be ready in time. It is the Ottawa Gatineau. God, I can never remember how this is done. It's a miniature painting competition. It is at the.
Isn't it actually the miniature painters? Or something like that?
Yeah, miniature painting. But anyways, it's a miniature painting competition. There's all kinds of events going on. If
Lots
you
of
go,
stuff to learn.
yeah, it's at the Nexus.
Nope. Multi-zone.
Sorry, at Multizone. I can never remember what they're called.
The Nexus is in Kingston.
Right. Sorry,
Multi-zone is the one in
Multizone.
Gatineau.
They all have similar names.
You
So
fucking nerd.
it's at Multizone. Cool thing is if you show up for the start time, there's about 4 courses you can take.
Yeah.
And some of them are pretty cool. So there's some basing stuff. There's some painting stuff. They're basically all kinds of blending courses. There's some basing courses from beginning to end. If you show up early enough, you'll get your day's worth.
Yeah.
We are sponsoring a trophy, which is the best privateer press
Model.
model, which is pretty sweet. So hopefully one of you guys will win that. I am taking myself out of
The running for that
the
one.
running for that one. So please show up and show
Seems
off your
silly to
models.
give yourself a trophy.
Well, I probably won't get it anyway. We've got some pretty damn. We got some amazing painters in this meta, and there's guys that come out from Montreal and
So those
backside.
Montreal guys are bonkers. man.
Yam is going to be there, and Yam pretty much just sticks a boot up. Well, I'm not really competing against him, but he's amazing. So he's going
Miniature figures, Ottawa Gatineau.
That's the one. So yeah, please everybody check that out. It's going to be amazing. And come say hi to us. Tell us what your handle is in the chat, or tell us some episodes that you watched, and we'll be like super awesome. And then we'll sell you a T-shirt and give you a fist bump.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way we roll. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Unless anybody can think of something that we did not think of. Thank you for joining us tonight, everybody. Dice down.
Dice down.
Moose Machine and This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes is a proud part of the Muse on Minis network. Podcasts go online every Thursday morning. You can watch the show live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, and keep in touch with us on our Facebook page. Just Google Moose Machine. If you can't find us, you're doing the internet wrong.
You may not actually even have to edit shit in.
Yeah, it's